Hi there, Sandy here. Welcome to another jewelry making video at my YouTube channel and my blog, keepsakecrafts.net. Today I'm going to show you how easy it is to take some leather cord and make a really nice, classy bracelet. This one would be nice for the guys in your life, as well as the gals. So the nice folks over at Endless Leather offered to send me some of their leathers to try out and use in a project to show you. So I have some really interesting leathers here. First of all, this widest one is Stingray leather. It's kind of cool. It actually has a bit of a sparkle to it. And then I have a braided leather here. This one is just regular cowhide. It's a 5mm braided cord. And this one would actually be very nice for your Pandora style bracelets, as their braided cord is a similar diameter. And then I also have this 1mm cord, which is kangaroo leather. So they're all kind of interesting, and I decided to combine the three into one bracelet. Now I've gone ahead and gotten started because when you're building a bracelet like this, you need to have one side glued in and the glue dry before you continue on to the next. These are the gold-plated 8mm end caps that they also have at Endless Leather. And on each one I have a 6mm jump ring, and then I have a gold-plated clasp. If you were making this for a guy and maybe this is a little bit too glam for them, you could certainly find gunmetal plated or something a little more subdued. Now what I went ahead and did was I took 2 strands of the 1mm kangaroo leather and 1 strand of the 5mm braided leather, and I braided them together just in a 3-strand braid. Do your best to keep it even as you're braiding. And as I was kind of working and experimenting and trying to figure out how best to put this together, I didn't want to mar the leather, so instead of using tape or something harsh, I just used rubber bands to hold everything in place. And then all I'm going to do for a design is I'm going to take this braid and just wrap it around the wider piece of leather. And I'm going to try to do it in nice even spiral. I did try braiding all 3 leathers together, but because this one's so much bigger, it didn't wrap around the others. It stayed stiff and it ended up looking kind of messy. So I decided not to do that. But I think this looks really cool. You could try all different colors and combinations mixed together. I mean, honestly, if you wanted to make a plain bracelet for a guy, you could just use the Stingray leather. And then you could choose a slightly smaller end cap and you'd be all set. It's really simple and quick, but very on trend and cool looking. And now I'm just going to check the fit here. What we want is for the actual leather to be about the same size that you want the bracelet. And then when you cut it, the clasp will add just enough to account for the thickness of the leather. If you were to measure the length and then cut it that length, when you bend it, because this material has a thickness, the inside diameter is smaller and your bracelet's going to be too small. So you do have to account for the thickness of the bracelet. So I'm just checking here to see where I want to cut it off. And I think right about there. And I'm just going to use a pair of scissors and just take your time, kind of work your way, and it cuts fairly easily. Then I'm going to double check that I'm happy with where my wraps are, and I'm going to pop this rubber band off and open it out. And once I'm happy with where all that is, I'm going to trim this leather off to the same spot. And then I'm going to use the rubber band. This will be our sacrificial rubber band. Put it down farther than the cap is going to go. And now all you need to do is mix up some 2-part epoxy. And this is the epoxy that they sell at Endless Leather. It has a really long working time, like 2 hours, and is fully cured in about 12 hours. So it's nice. You don't have to rush. And it even comes with a little mixing container and a little mixing paddle if you want. Although I'm usually happy just using a scrap of paper that I pulled out of the trash can and a toothpick. And the way this stuff works is you just mix equal parts of each one and then mix them together thoroughly. Since there's so much open time on this, I like to mix for a good minute and make sure they're very thoroughly mixed. Once you have it thoroughly mixed, then you're just going to take your toothpick and carefully get that epoxy down into the bottom of the cap and also onto the sides. You want to put enough in, but you don't want to put in so much that it oozes out, because that's just not an attractive look. And then just kind of take a look in there and look at your piece of leather, and if it looks like there's a little too much, you can scoop some out, and then you just press your leather pieces in there. Make sure it's on there nice and tight. And then let it sit until it's fully cured, and then you can cut off the rubber band and your bracelet is done. So for links to all the tools and materials that I used in this project, you can click here and go to the accompanying blog post. Here's another look at the project we made today. Be sure to check out all the wonderful, interesting array of supplies they have over at Endless Leather, and maybe make yourself some jewelry for a gentleman in your life. Thanks so much for watching Keepsake Crafts videos. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and share. And if you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do, for 3 new videos every week. I upload on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And make sure to follow me on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and on my blog. Happy creating. Bye-bye.